and producer of musical theater here at New York City Center. I want to thank you for being a wonderful audience this afternoon. You were fabulous, and you are one of the 15 audiences that gets to see what I consider a once-in-a-lifetime event, to see this revival of Titanic with this incredible cast. But here is Jonathan Tunick, our orchestrator, our Berman, maestro, musical. We'll be joined in a few minutes. We'll be joined in a few minutes by a few cast members. But I did want to spend, because of this extraordinary score of Titanic, written by Maury Yeston, of course, I did want to spend extra attention at this talk back today on music. But before I do that, I want to give a quick shout out, because I don't know if you are a musical theater lover like I am. This cast is so stacked. While I like to think that that's a testament to, you know, what we do here, and a little bit it is mostly a testament to our casting directors. So I don't know if he's here, Bernie Telsey, but Telsey and Company, who does all of our casting at Encores for the last couple of seasons, they are the casting directors, unsung heroes of theater, right? Like the Tony Awards of tomorrow, they don't get nominated, they don't get considered, but they are so much a key ingredient to why shows are so special. So I don't know if he's here, but I do want to just give a special shout out to the casting directors in theater, and especially Telsey and Company. Craig and Rachel do this one. Thank you. Okay, Rob Berman. You know, Mary Mitchell, who's our in-house Encores MD, was supposed to MD this, but she had a conflict, and so we got to call you. And honestly, what a lucky break. I mean, no disservice to Mary Mitchell, but it feels so right that you're up there. I mean, I'm just, again, gonna channel my music theater geek for a second. Is this the best, doing 30 pieces, getting to conduct 30 pieces?
Oh yeah, I mean, someone asked, is this the biggest orchestra we've had at Encores? And the answer is no. We've had orchestras this large and larger, but this score, when you guys called me, I said absolutely yes, I'll be there, because just to get a chance to conduct this orchestral score that Jonathan orchestrated, that Maury wrote, that is sweeping and cinematic at times, and epic, and it's a big, you know, conducting the show is like steering the ship. And but it is a joy. It is a joy, and so many friends and colleagues of mine in the company and in the orchestra. It's been a wonderful time for me to be back here.
Jonathan Tunick, ladies and gentlemen. So lucky. If you don't know, Jonathan has been an orchestrator for many, many years. He's one of the few EGOT holders. I don't know. He has all four. Incredible. And I think, you know, you're more known for your collaboration with Sondheim, but I have to say your orchestrations on Titanic, for which you won the Tony Award, which was the first time they ever gave an orchestrator a Tony Award. I think these orchestrations are astonishing. I have a couple of questions. Maybe can you, I know you get asked this all the time, can you explain a little bit how you take the raw material of what a composer gives you and you breathe life into it? I think you've said it's similar to lighting design, in that you're painting colors where there were none. But can you talk a little bit about that for a second?
Well, the whole thing about the reference to the lighting design, like most interviews I've given, have been grossly exaggerated.
Well, here's a chance to set the record straight, Jonathan.
Most composers write their accompaniments for piano. And What the orchestrator does is interpret the piano accompaniment so it's suitable for an orchestra. In the process of doing that, we have the power to bring to bear the immense scope and power, both in interpretively and in might of the orchestra, which is far more flexible than the piano. I would say the biggest difference between the work I did with Sondheim and Titanic is that Steve never was inclined to epic, and this is an epic. So it was a chance to do something quite different. And I'm not suggesting Steve Sondheim was incapable of the epic. It just never quite happened with him. His shows tended to be more internal, and so this was quite different. This is big. It's on a big scale.
Thank you. And you and I were having, I told you that my favorite part of this orchestration is in the blame. When there's a motif that happens underneath it. You like that I picked your song? Okay, cool. There's a, I don't want to sing it. Rob, can you do it, the harpsichord?
No, I can't sing the harpsichord. There's a great
harpsichord that's underneath the blame that's counterpuntal to the song, and I told you my admiration for that moment, and you replied that you picked the sound of harpsichord because.
Well, I tend to invoke the harpsichord when I want something annoying.
And I said that's because the blame, they're all kind of pointing fingers at each other.
Exactly.
So it gets the audience,
Exactly.
the listeners, kind of agitated with them. That was really interesting. Ramin Karimloo. I think I want to start with Judy and Chip on this one. Judy, you've been on the stage a lot. Chip, it's your first one. I think, what did it mean to you both? Because Chip, you were just in Harmony and you were so astonished. You had a big you're never gonna get through this if you keep clapping. What made you say yes to Titanic? Because I do think this is a huge ensemble show, and I want to know what drew you to it.
I'm still trying to figure it out. It's terrifying. To learn all this material so quickly, you know, and there's a lot of really agile young performers who just, you know, the scripts were down on the table early on, and I'm out there going every minute trying to learn it. You know what? I saw it originally, and it's just a great show, and I thought it just would be a lot of fun to be with all these incredible people. Judy keeps me accurate backstage, tells me when to enter, and you know, it's just it's kind of a blast. You know, that's the thing.
You didn't know that when you said yes.
Well, I did one years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, I did applause years ago, but this felt more. I don't know. This felt harder. Had to do with all the songs, like you know. Dressed in your pajamas in the grass salon. You know, it's hard.
Yeah, I said to Bonnie, I said, you know, being in first class isn't so great because you have to sing a lot of patter songs. You're better off in second class.
Patter songs. My next question is for Bonnie. So pass it to Bonnie. So you're backstage at Kimberly Akimbo, and you hear the news that we're doing Titanic.
Yes.
And you're with Victoria Clark, who originated the role of Alice Bean. And you're like, I want to play it. Was there anything there? Was there synergy?
I had a friend actually mention it first. As soon as it was announced, he texted me and said, "So you're playing Alice Bean, right? Because you and Vicky." And I was like, "Oh, who knows?" And then I got, I'm a frequent visitor to City Center, and so I got my City Center mailer, and it said, and that's when I saw it was directed by Annie Kaufman, who I've done several readings with, so I have her number. So I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I texted her. And I said, what if I was your Alice Bean? And she said, wait, are you serious? And I said, yeah, why not? And then she goes, I'll get back to you. And like a day later, I got the offer. And she said, what if I would have told you no? And I said, well, then that would have been fine. It's whatever. It doesn't hurt to ask. She's like, if I thought you weren't right for it, and you are so right for it. And I was like, well, you always ask.
It was so great because Vicky came on and did like a little cameo the other night. It was very sweet to see you together back.
And she actually came back this afternoon. She caught the beginning because she was backstage during the beginning when she was our Miss Passenger the other night. So she came back to watch the opening today. She was with you.
And why don't you pass it to Brandon? Brandon.
Hi.
So this character that you're playing, Ismay, not how we've seen you before. Was that an attraction?
Very much so. And it was something that Annie said to me early on. She's like, I don't think people have seen you play a part like this before in New York, and I would love to see what you bring to it. And I was like, thank you for the opportunity. I mean, I'm always hungry to do things that, like, as actors, we always get sort of pigeonholed and put into our respective boxes. And, I think I've done okay in that box. But there's so much more that I have to offer as an actor, and I was so grateful to Annie to give me that chance. And I'm just having such a blast being a bad guy. It's fun. It's fun.
Thank you. Ramin, go on. Thank you. Take the mic. We had the pleasure of seeing you in Funny Girl a year and a half ago, and you have quite a full career. What drew you to Titanic? Did you know the show when we called you about it? I don't think you did, right?
I did not,
Yeah.
no. Thanks for having me. Hello, everyone. Well, 7 of the many reasons I wanted to say yes to this is right here on the stage. Again, like Chip was saying and what Bonnie was saying, I wanted to work with Annie and this wonderful company, and it's turned out to be a great decision. My whole life has been based on instinct, and my instinct said, you gotta do this and it'll be a lot of fun, and there's, for such a tragic story, there's a lot of joy within the company to help tell this tale, and I'm so glad I did it.
Great, and thank you for getting all the tattoos for the role. I thought that really helped.
You do what you can, There's Brando, you learn from the best.
Jose Llana. Oh my God. So, Jose, here's the thing. This casting process, if you haven't gotten sort of the impression, a lot of it happened where like Annie Kaufman, our director, was on the subway or would bump into someone at an event and be like, do you want to be in Titanic? That was less true for Ramin and Jose. You were the last person to join, I think the last person because we needed to replace Conrad. So, did the short amount of time between when you got the job and when you started rehearsal, was that a little, it's fast anyway, but that was fast.
It's pretty fast, but I have to have a huge confession to make. When they announced that they were doing Titanic, I literally was like, I want to play that part. I had my eye on it.
Oh, you visioned
I really did.
it.
I was like that, because I saw it in '97, and I was like, that's Michael Cerveris, and I want to sing that. I want to sing that stuff.
Well, I have to say, it sits on your voice really well.
Oh, thank you. But when Conrad's my brother. Like we did Here Lights Up together, and when it didn't happen, I just kind of released it. And I'm like, great, I can't wait to go see and support Conrad, and then it landed in my lap, and it's like, sure, yeah. And when the announcement came out, I'd already been kind of like re-listening to the cast album over and over again, the way that I'd done for the past 20 years, and I joke that I've had to relearn because I'm singing kind of like the baritone part now in all the group singing. I had to kind of
override my like muscle memory, because in my bathroom for the past 20 years I've just been singing the melody for anytime I'm singing, Great Ship Titanic, I'm just singing the melody. I'm like, oh no, baritone this time, baritone. But no, I've loved this show since it premiered, and just happy to join in. It feels like summer camp, but everyone's a Broadway star.
That's what it was like. It was like the first day of rehearsal. You all walked into the room, and every time you walked in, you said, "I can't believe who's in this room." It was such a wonderful thing. Rob, I have one more question for you, and then audience will have a time for a couple of questions from you. So think about that for a second. Rob, in terms of prepping for music directing this, and setting even your team to think about all these different vocal, because it's such a ensemble choral singing. Do you prepare differently for this than, say, I don't know, Into the Woods or even Light in the Piazza? Is it a different mindset that you put yourself in?
That's an interesting question. Not really. I mean, I think my process is the same no matter what the piece is, in terms of really learning the material and understanding it and figuring out the best way to teach it, the best way to work with the orchestra on it. So I don't think I think my process is pretty consistent. But I do want to give a shout out to the great Ben Whiteley, who is my associate on this, who has been working in Encore since the beginning, and he did all of the choral preparation and did a beautiful job.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that first day of rehearsal, you were singing the opening number in like less than an hour of going into it. That was so impressive.
That was very exciting. It was very exciting.
Sorry,
I
you
think
weren't there.
there was a meeting though back in January where Annie Kaufman wanted to go through the score, so Mary Mitchell and I played four-hand piano and sang the whole score, just the two of us, and yeah, it was never as good.
Rob, being a man of great modesty, won't say this for himself, so I'm going to say it for him. This show is a tour de force for a conductor, and Rob has done a splendid job doing this. I've worked with a lot of conductors in my time. I've even been one. And this was just about the best I've ever experienced.
Okay, thank you. There's about 10 minutes for questions from you all. Raise your hands, we'll try to get to your questions. The sentence has to end in a question mark. It can't be a statement of belief. It has to be a question, okay? That's the compact. Brandon, take the mic and repeat the question, please.
He asked, after EJ, the captain asks, who called for speed and to break every record, who tried to land ever sooner? I say, what do I say? Maybe that's the problem. No. I say, who took a course too far north for the season? And then
We start overlapping.
we start
I
overlapping.
say, who had to have both the largest and fastest? Who did it?
Who should have set up more lookouts? Who should have posted more lookouts in darkness?
And then he says something.
And then it's the who did it, who did it, who did it, who did it.
Thank you.
Well, when he's asking, what does it feel like to be the one up there who has to kind of hold it together, basically? And yeah, now that you've put it that way, I'm going to be nervous to go on tonight. But, I've been doing this for a while, and so, it's just experience, like anything. The more experience you have doing something, then the more comfortable you are.
Advice for up-and-coming composers who want to write for Broadway.
Things have changed a lot since I was a young would-be. It is so hard to get a show on now, and difficult to know where to start. I would say surround yourself with colleagues. Just meet a lot of people in the business So much of it is being in the right place at the right time. Be in a lot of places at a lot of times.
Record it. I'm thinking about how to make that possible, actually. Person in questions, what's your mindset or mentality when preparing for the roles?
Right. Yeah, a lot of that. I listened to that patter song every day for a month before we started. I didn't even have the music. I just was like, I have to know what this is. And I think this is hard to bring what we can to it that isn't, I didn't get to see the original. I've got to hear the album, so it was a lot of going in the corner and me and Drew figuring out what our Edgar and Alice were like. So it's a fun challenge.
To add, the process of encores it's so fast that it's not like doing a normal production where you have time to develop things. So you have to just trust your instincts and just go for something and be forgiving of yourself when you get out there and you go, wait, what is that lyric? And of your colleagues.
Also, it helps to take lots of crevices.
You heard it here.
I mean, my song is about death. Oh, sorry. She asked what was it like for the characters on stage who were preparing for death. Basically, that's almost all of us on. Well, except you're the only one. No, these two. I think that's one of the eternal questions of the show and of the play. Is what is your humanity when you see your death in right in front of you? And I think particularly the last half of the show is about that and what these different characters, your real personalities and your real humanity come through, and particularly in their song. In this beautiful, beautiful song, Still. In the throes of seeing their death coming, they're calm and they're just showing their love to each other. And I think that's the most beautiful part of the show. So I think a lot of people that I've seen this week, friends of mine who've seen the show afterwards, they bring that up. They're like, wow, they knew the ending, but they were still kind of moved by how all the different characters approached their death. So that's profound, I think.
I mean, in some ways. He's asking when you're playing a real person who really lived in the world, is that different? And what responsibility do you feel? It's so funny because I feel like lately all the roles I've played have been real people. I guess it depends on what it is, but yes, I felt like I wanted to honor Ida Strauss, who did a really brave and beautiful, loving thing by going to her death with her husband. And I think, you have to honor that. Who knows what she spoke like or how she moved or any of those things, but I want to pay tribute to her. Do you know what I mean?
No, I totally agree. I think I feel a responsibility to present Isidore as, a wonderful man who was brave and didn't make it.
Oh, we got one more, because we can't end on that note. It's too rough. The question is Brandon Uranowitz in his villain era. Is that true for Ragtime?
What?
Ragtime?
Yeah, because I'm taught to like a villain. No. I'm in my villain era right now. I'm loving it. But I'm excited. I'm very excited for. This is about Titanic, but I am very excited for Ragtime. It's not necessarily part of my villain chapter, but it is. It's a big full circle moment for me. I was in the original production as the little boy in Toronto when I was 11 years old, and they took that entire company to Broadway except for me. Yeah, it's so funny. So it was very deeply traumatic for me, so I'm very excited actually to...
Justice for Brandon.